a week ago, and I thought maybe I should report it to you.
Like you heard of it.
Alright. I was traveling from the state of Oregon to the state of California. And I had left the mood, and I was 100 miles from Fresno. When it was about 1 o'clock, when all of a sudden I did not know anything. It was 1 o'clock when I did know how far I had to go. I didn't know another thing until 2:30. I also had bruises on my leg, which my husband saw, bruises on my chest, which my husband saw, and I didn't even know it was going on. The police in Merced, if you want to check with them, picked me up because I didn't know what I was doing. And I feel like I was put through some type of an examination. I must have had a struggle in the car because the wheel was torn off my shoes, my glasses were broken in half, the scarf was torn off my head, and like I said, I lost an hour and a half.
And you don't remember any particular stressful event?
No, except that I was just transported from the freeway to a farmer's field. I have no idea how my car got there.
Okay, now, approximately where did that happen again?
By Merced, California.
And you were on I-5?
Yes.
I see. Do you remember what day this was?
Yes. It was on the 20th of November.
And, this is a thousand questions I just got to ask you. You're calling long distance,
Yes.
okay. Okay, first of all, let me get your name.
Well, if you prefer to call me back, I'll give you my phone number, and then we can talk further.
Well, okay, is that all I can get is your phone number?
Well, if you'll call me back.
Oh, you will definitely get back, too. There's no question about that.
All right.
And you don't care to give me your name now?
Oh, I'll give you my name. I don't care. My name is...
Oh, that's all right. I can look that up.
Well, I can look it up in just a minute.
No problem, no problem. Okay, now, what police department was involved? Okay.
And they even called in a psychiatrist and talked to me. I didn't even know what I was doing. It was like I'd been hypnotized or something. It was just plain crazy. I didn't know what I was doing.
Okay, anything like this, or anything that has ever strange ever happened to you before?
No. But I had to talk to somebody about it because it was not normal.
Now, where were you traveling from?
I was traveling from Oregon into California.
Okay, what city were you traveling from?
I was traveling from Weed. And I left
Have you traveled that route before?
Yes.
In other words, the road and so forth wasn't strange to you.
No.
Okay.
You see, my children live in Washington, and I was there to see my children and my grandchildren.
I see.
And one of my daughters just got married, and I was there for the wedding, and I was on my way home. And I stopped at Reed to stay all night to drive home the next day.
Okay. Could I ask you your age?
Yes, I'm 39.
Okay.
I'll be 40 in April.
And the Merced police are the ones that found you in the field?
Yes.
How about your vehicle? Was it,
I don't know, there's little tiny pinpoint type of dents on the back of it. Other than that, there is nothing wrong with the vehicle.
okay, then what happened was you were just driving and,
Well, the police told me that I pulled out in front of a truck, which I do not remember. They also told me that I hit a railroad abutment, which I do not remember. When he stopped me, I got out, and he asked me what I was doing, and I didn't even know. I told him I didn't know. I had no idea. But how my car got from that freeway to that farmer's field, I will never know.
did they have any explanation for that?
No.
Huh. Okay.
I'm not some kind of a nut.
Now, what about your husband? What do you think of that?
Well, they called him from the dad and asked him to come and get me because they didn't want me to drive home. They went through my train trace, and the only thing they could find was the hormone pills I take. And that's all he ever take. So they went through everything, and it's not that I was taking drugs, and he asked me if I'd been drinking. I said, no. I will even take your drinking test or whatever you have, whatever they do. But he said, no, never mind. I say you haven't been.
Okay, then you don't remember anything happening before the so-called blackout?
No.
Oh.
I don't remember anything from 1 o'clock till 2:30.
Okay.
Except that I found myself in a farmer's field, and I didn't know how to get back. And I thought I was just driving around Florida. I know that sounds weird. But it is weird, and it really upsets me.
Okay. Now, how did you happen to get our number?
I called the sheriff here,
Okay.
and he referred you to me.
Okay. All right. Now, I think I've got enough preliminary information here. Have you visited a physician about this, your own physician?
No, I have talked to Dick about it. That's my husband. And I said I would love to have some type of hypnotism or something to find out what happened to me in that hour and a half.
to be hypnotized and regress back to that period?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I would love to be, because something happened to me then. I wouldn't have ended up with bruises. You could tell it was a strap mark across my leg. And they were bruised. And I still don't know what happened.
And that is the only physical
Evidence?
in other words, you had no other evidence of being examined, just the strap mark?
No, I just had a couple little red spots in the pubic hair.
Okay. Now, about your car, just one more question. How far out into the field was this car?
I have no idea. I absolutely have no idea.
Did they find any tracks leading to or from that?
I don't think they even looked.
Okay.
You can ask them if that police department if they did.
Did they ever give you a case number on that?
No?
Okay, and this happened on the 20th?
Yes?
On the 20th. Okay. Okay, I've got enough preliminary information on this right now, and we'll get back to you and let you know exactly what we're going to do. I think that especially you are really willing to go into hypnotic regression. I think that would be the best thing to try.
Well, because something that was driving me crazy.
Oh, I can understand that, yes. Well, do you feel that you were involved with UFOs?
Yes?
Okay. What was your general opinion of this subject prior to this?
My general feeling about UFOs?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. I've been interested in the situation for several years, but I've never been real concerned about it. I thought it could be possible, but maybe not.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Moore, we'll get back to you on this. You can be sure of that. And there's a party in California who professionally does this type of hypnotic regression type work and works in the UFO investigating field.
Uh-huh.
And see if we can't get a hold of him and put two and two together here and see if we can't come up with something.
But how could my car just be moved from the freeway to a field? And then I didn't even know what I was doing.
Well, this would be very easy at first. You could throw a mental block.
I've never had this type of thing happen to me before.
Well, this has happened to people involved in UFO contact, where they have been put into a mental block type situation. But I'm a little surprised that you didn't see or hear something prior to this.
No, I didn't, except the buzzing in my ears. And that's the only thing I heard before that happened. But all of a sudden I just woke up in the bed. But I knew there had been a struggle because, like I said, the heel was torn off my shoe, my glasses were broken in half, the scarf was torn off my head. I don't know what happened. The keys were still in the car. My purse, everything was still gone.
Did you woke up before the police found you?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
You can check with them, the state police, and they'll tell you that they found me out there, and I was very vague, and they called the psychiatrist, and they probably thought I was some kind of a nut.
Okay, from what point in Washington State were you driving?
Well, I started in Yakima.
Okay. And that was on November 20th.
No, November 20th is when I left Meade and started here. That was in Oregon.
Yeah.
So I started on the 19th from
Yakima.
yeah.
Okay. We'll get back to you.
Oh.
And in the meantime, why, do a little relaxing.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do whatever we can for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Walking down the hill toward my house, and I saw some lights, one that I thought was a star, but it kept getting closer to me. And then it had 4 or 5 lights on it, and they were alternating, switching from one color to another.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't a helicopter, because there was a helicopter farther down that I could see, and I could also hear it. But there was no sound from this, and it went right over the top of my head. And it was like almost a pure black. And it happened to go underneath a plane. It looked like it went out of its way to go underneath one.
Well, what was your exact location when all this happened?
What's that street up above? 73rd and Fremont.
Okay.
Looking down toward the east. And it looked like it was coming, and it wasn't going very fast. It was just a very slow progression. And it took approximately 15 minutes to go past me, and then it went around past, it looked like it went out and went underneath the plane and then went down into Ballard. And after that, I didn't see it anymore because it went behind houses in the hill.
And it was just a dark object.
A dark object with about 4 lights on it, and they were, red was on top, green, blue, and kind of yellow. But they weren't in any sequence. The lights weren't flashing in any sequence.
Uh-huh.
They were in alternate, and...
But they were flashing?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was wondering if there might have been anything that was close to it. Maybe I'm not the only one that saw it that night.
What one was this, Monday?
Yes, Monday.
Okay, just a moment. No, I don't see a thing for that particular day.
Okay. It's nice to have a place you can call about things like this.
Uh-huh.
Because I've seen, well, this is the first close contact that I've seen. And this surprised me because I've understood him and have done a lot of reading on him. And I think I've seen one once before, but I was never sure. And this is one that I can almost verify because there was no sound. And a plane would make a sound. The helicopter that was around, I heard the helicopter that was about a mile away. You can hear it when
yes.
It's flying. And I could hear the plane, but this just didn't make nothing. No sound at all.
Do you have any estimate on the size of the object?
Oh, it was about probably 200, maybe 300 yards above me. And the size of a football field.
Okay. Now, did this thing pass overhead?
Not directly overhead, slightly to the side, so that I was getting, as it passed me by, the lights, that I was seeing this way. First, I just saw a white light, which looked like a star, and then the colored lights were when it passed by me on the side. It looked like the lights were, the colored lights were on the side of it.
Well, were you in a vehicle at the time?
No, I was out walking.
You're outdoor, okay.
I wish I had a pair of binoculars. I could give you a better description.
But you figure it's about maybe 600 feet altitude?
And it was just like it was just taking a look at the city and seeing what was happening. And most people would never report anything like that anyway.
Did it ever change its course?
Yes, it did change its course once when it went underneath the plane. It looked like it deliberately went under there.
Was this a private type plane?
Yes, it looked like it.
Okay.
So, and it looked like it went close to the plane. When it went underneath, it wasn't too far away. And like I said, it looked like it was just taking a look to see what's happening.
About what time was that?
Oh, between 5 and 5:30 in the afternoon. It was dark already, and that's why I couldn't see clear. If it was light, it had, when I first saw it, it was, it was dark, but there was a little bit of light. The lights were starting to come on. And when it passed me, it was totally black.
Okay, but how long did you observe it?
About 10 to 15 minutes. And then I turned around and looked at it, but there wasn't any way to see what was happening after that, so I turned around and walked home.
Okay, and you were the only witness?
Yeah, I heard about your organization over the radio, OK 102.5.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're having some special reports on it, and our whole family has been into it. My wife and the lady that's living here, and we've known they were there. It was just a matter of getting a verified sighting. And no, like I said, it just looked like it was just taking a leisurely stroll across the sky to see what was happening. But no, they're doing a real heavy thing on it. They've done a couple of them now.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Okay, well, if we get anything else on this, we'll be sure to get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot for calling.
Okay, bye-bye.
I was wondering if there's any reports of any meteorite last night.
The only thing that we had was from the Auburn Valley area. A bus driver in that area saw something coming out of the sky.
Yeah, well, my wife and I were up at 12:30. We had a power failure here at the apartment complex. And I was in bed yet. My wife called me out to the window, and towards the north from our apartment window, we saw what appeared to be a flaming object in the sky. And it proceeded up from the horizon, up overhead, and real slow. It took probably about 15 minutes. And it looked just like a flaming round object, maybe slightly elliptical. And it proceeded over the top of our apartment house, and it stayed over the top of our apartment house a good 5 minutes before it came over the other side. And I got the field glasses out and looked at it, and it looked the same size in the field glasses as it did to the naked eye. I couldn't bring it any closer. So then it proceeded down toward Mount Rainier in that vicinity, and it dropped down on the horizon a little bit, and then it started getting smaller, and little pieces looked like it started shooting out of it, ahead of it, and going real fast. And it looked like a flaming object of some kind, but it looked like a meteorite in reverse.
I see.
Like instead of the tail being the way it was coming from, the tail, or there was the pieces going out in front of it.
Yes. Okay, about what time was that again?
About 12:20 this morning. I guess probably from about 12:10 or 12:15 to 12:30 we observed it.
Okay, now which direction did this thing come from? Do you remember?
Well, when my wife first saw it, it was looking out of our window. Our window is, our apartment house lies parallel to the SeaTac runway. And I don't remember the runway, which runways are which. But we're looking towards the north.
Okay.
Probably northwest.
And
then it disappeared to the southeast or south. But generally in a northerly, southerly direction. maybe northwest to southeast.
Uh-huh.
And it was straight up in the sky above our apartment, but it looked like it was going over a little bit. As you look at it to the north, my wife said she thought it went over to the left more, towards SeaTac Airport from the apartment.
Yes.
And then it started kind of changing course and came up overhead.
And how long did that stay overhead?
Well, it was out of our sight above our roof. We looked out both sides of the house and couldn't see it, and it must have been up there about a good 5 minutes.
Uh-huh.
It could have been moving across, but it was moving awfully slow by the time it got up overhead.
I see.
It seemed like it was moving slower when it was overhead, when we couldn't see it, than it was when it was coming up on the horizon. Now, why I said the slower it moved, the smaller it got.
Okay, and this it seemed to give off particles
Yes, but
in the
this was
distance.
just at one time.
Yes.
All the time during it went across the sky, we didn't see it lose any particles.
Yes.
But it was just as it went down in the south, when it started getting a little bit smaller, I had the glasses on all the time then, and it looked just like something shot out from it real fast, 2 or 3 times, and they were little round, fiery objects like the color of it was, the same color it was.
Were they shooting out in the same direction or different directions?
In the same general direction it was going,
I see.
toward the south.
Okay.
But it looked like they were getting smaller. I mean, it was getting smaller when this was happening.
Yes. If we get any additional information on this, we'll get back to you and let you know.
Okay, I'd sure be interested to find out.
Yes, we're interested in knowing where you got our number.
Oh, I called Flight Service Station. I'm a student pilot.
Oh, great.
And Flight Service Station to give it to me.
Fine, thanks again.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
A UFO was hovering over them. And they gave me several descriptions, and so I thought I'd give you a call.
Okay, where do they live? And that's in Seattle?
No, this is in Idaho Falls.
Oh, I see. Okay. Now, did they give you a full description of what they saw?
Yes.
Okay, would you like to pass that on to us?
All right. They said it was oval-shaped, round, and it had one light in the very center of it with a dome, and that there's kind of a door on one edge of it.
Uh-huh.
And they said it didn't have wings.
Pardon?
They said it didn't have wings. Okay, and she said it spun around in circles.
It spun, you mean the whole object just circled, or it was rotating?
The whole thing just circled or was rotating. She said the whole thing was rotating.
The whole object itself, okay. About how low was it, did they say?
How high was it? Say, 2 telephone pole lengths up in the air, or what? She says about 4 telephone pole lengths up in the air.
I see. How old was she? Or is she?
She's 10. She's in the 5th grade.
I see. Oh, could she talk to us on the phone?
Would you like to talk to me here?
Hello?
Hi. What was your name?
Robin.
Robin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, would you like to describe just exactly what happened there and what you saw?
Now, we were going down to my girlfriend, Jackie's
Uh-huh.
house, and I said, look, and then in the sky, there was a round object, and it had a dome on the top, and then it had a side door in the middle. It had a light, and it had 2 sort of like windows on each side of the light.
Uh-huh.
And then it went around in circles.
You mean that it moved in circles overhead, or what? Or was it just rotating?
It was moving in circles.
Okay. Well, and was this overhead, directly over you, or off to another direction?
Directly over me.
Directly overhead. And you figure it was about how high off the ground?
4 telephone poles high.
Could you hear any sound?
It was going like this. Beep, beep, beep. Really, I couldn't barely hear it though.
I see. And did you see lights on the object?
Mm-hmm.
What color were those lights?
And the light was red, and it went on and on.
Okay. Do you have any idea of how big that object was?
It was about the size of our living room. And our living room, just a second, 12 by 15.
Okay. And about what time does this happen?
Just about 10 minutes ago. 20.
About 3, well, that would be about 4:30 your time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there was a girl with you?
Yeah, Jennifer,
I see.
9 years old.
9, okay. And we're curious to know where you got our telephone number.
My brother has it, yes, but not me.
Oh, where did he get it?
Second one. From the police station.
Okay. Well, could I talk to your brother again?
Yes, you may.
Sure.
Yes?
Hi, could we get your full name?
My name's David.
Okay. Now, how old are you, David?
I'm 16.
Okay. Did these girls seem pretty excited when they came in the house?
More like scared.
Just plain scared, huh?
Yeah.
And they've never seen anything strange in the sky before?
No, they're just sitting here shaking.
I see. Is your parents home?
No, they're working.
I see. Well, sir, we sure appreciate your calling, and we're going to start an investigation on this, and if we get any further information, we'll get back to you and let you know.
Okay.
And thank you very much for calling.
Okay.
Okay. Bye. The 7th. I wonder if you could give us a complete description again and tell us just exactly how you happened to see this object and then everything that took place after that.
Okay. Me and my friend Jeffrey Simmons were walking down the street, and we saw this thing up in the air, and it was rotating, sort of like, going around in a circle, and it had a dome on top. It didn't have no wings. Peer around, and it had a light in the middle, red sort of light, and it was going on and off, and 2 little sort of windows on the sides and a little door.
And just about how high in the air did you figure that object was?
About 12 high.
I see. Okay. Now, what attracted you to this? Was there any noise or anything that made you look up into the sky?
Yeah, there was sort of like a beep.
Beeping on and off? Was that fairly loud?
I couldn't hardly hear it, though.
I see. Okay. Now, what, other than this red light, was there any other color? What color was the object itself?
Gray.
Gray. Okay. Now, that you say there was a dome on top?
Yeah.
Was that a transparent? Could you see through that?
I couldn't.
Was there any light coming from that?
A little.
A little bit. What color was that?
Sort of yellowish.
I see. Now, that red light that you saw, where was it located on the object?
Right in the middle.
Underneath?
Yeah.
On the bottom. Okay. And you say that you could see openings like windows?
Mm-hmm.
Was there any light coming from those?
No, there wasn't.
Okay. Now, about how long would you say that you watched this object?
It was 2 weeks ago, and it was about 5 minutes.
For about 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, did you see anything else in the sky at the time while you were watching this?
No, I didn't.
How was the weather there at the time?
It was fine. It was sunny outside, yeah.
That was still in the afternoon, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Was it a clear sky?
Yeah, it was a clear sky.
Okay. Do you have any idea, now was this directly overhead when you first saw it?
Yeah, it was overhead.
And then what did it do as you were watching it? Did it just move away, or did you run in the house?
It had the sound of beat, and then it was just light, and then it was just circling, going around in circles while it was moving.
It was moving in circles overhead.
Uh-huh.
And then did it move away from you, out of sight?
Mm-hmm.
Was it still circling when it, as it moved away from you?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. Was there anyone else out in the street at the time?
No, that wasn't. Just me and my friends.
And you haven't talked to anyone else who saw it?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Now, if we send you a special form, would you draw us a picture of what you saw?
Yeah.
Okay. Did this frighten you quite a bit?
Yes, it did.
Have you told your friends about it?
No, I haven't.
You haven't, okay. And the object, when it was moving overhead, you were standing there watching it, did the altitude seem to decrease or increase? In other words, did the object come down any lower or go up any higher while it was right there in that area?
It was going up a little bit higher.
I see. And then did you see this object as it faded away, as it went away?
Yeah.
Which direction did it move? Do you remember?
It went to the direction of right.
To the right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, is your older brother there now, the one that was home when you came in and told him about it?
No, he isn't.
Okay.
My friend's here, so I speak to her.
Is Jennifer there?
Yeah.
Okay, could I talk to her for a minute? Hi, Jennifer. My name is Bob.
What?
My name is Bob. What did you think of the object that you saw the other night, or the afternoon? Pardon? Okay, could I talk to Robin's mother again?
Yes.
Yes, Mrs. I'm still trying to get Jennifer's address. I didn't make it out. Do you know it?
Yes.
What did you think of your daughter's experience?
It about scared me to death. You know, because my husband and I work at a jewelry store, and immediately after, I guess they had notified the authorities of what they had seen.
Uh-huh.
Why, they called me at the store, and I was a little bit concerned.
Yes.
And, of course, she never came in and never said anything like that before. So I knew darn well, that she couldn't have been storying to me, or that, that she'd seen it. And then my boy, of course, he questioned her when she came in, and then he finally decided, well, maybe he'd better call somebody.
Uh-huh. Any after effects like any dreams?
No.
I see.
Not that I know of. She slept quite well since then.
And that the story that she described here this afternoon, does it pretty well match what she told you?
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yeah, she repeated it to her father and I when we got home that evening.
Uh-huh.
And the same story as she told us, that it just, the little light was beeping, and it kind of, frightened me a little bit, but my son had mentioned something that someone else had seen this also.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, he said someone else had called in.
I see.
And I just wondered if this was, if this was so, or if he was just telling us to make an impression.
Uh-huh.
That he said someone else had called in about it also, but I was just wondering, had there been any other report of it?
We hadn't received any additional reports.
Nothing.
No.
Well, that is such an odd thing to happen.
Well, this is quite usual in this type of case because we feel that if there were 100 people that actually saw the object, maybe only one or two would probably report it anyway.
Well, yeah, this is true, too, but of course, when you see something like that, and you know darn good and well you're seeing it, and you haven't been drinking,
right.
The first thing you would think of would be to notify. I mean, I would.
Right.
If I saw something like that. But I was really amazed because my son said as soon as he got outside, he said he couldn't see it.
Right.
And he said little kids were both just white as a sheet. He said they really did see something, and I, of course, I was quite alarmed about it, and I thought, my land, what's happening?
Right.
And when they called me from work, why, we soon closed the store and we were home.
Uh-huh. But she's pretty well settled down now?
Yeah, she seems to be.
Okay. Okay, fine.
She hasn't talked about it at all until you called us last time. We just kind of dropped it, and had to discuss it.
Yes.
Because we knew, that she was afraid, and I didn't want to, cause any undue fear to her, so we just kind of, mum's the word with her.
Right.
But, of course, you never know in a situation like this, you've heard of things like this happening, and that these children and even adults do see these things.
Very much, yes. Well, the only suggestion I could make would be to just sort of let the thing go on its own and don't talk about it unless she wants to talk about it.
Right. Okay, well, this is fine. I just hope that maybe we can find out what in the world it was. Do many people call in about these things? I mean...
Oh, yes. We get hundreds of calls.
Oh, good man. Oh, that's really something. It's something, you would never think of. Now, who do people call when they see these things?
Well, this is the call to the UFO Reporting Center in Seattle, Washington.
Uh-huh.
And Robin is 10.
Yes.
And how old is Jennifer?
9.
9, okay. And we're going to send Robin a letter, and she said she would make a drawing of the object.
Oh, okay, fine. She drew one for us, too.
Great.
So I'll just kind of keep it back, and then I'll compare and see if it's the same one she drew us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, then we'll mail this back to you, right?
Right.
Okay, then, fine, and thank you for calling.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.